Sup? Are you ready to get walked through the song Progress by the rock band Good Terms? Are you ready? Strap in. We're gonna go through this the way that I tend to mix, which is bottom up. Let's start with our drums here. Like most of my mixing, I will loop the chorus or whatever part that I feel like represents the song the best. Let's see how our drums ended up, and then we can go backwards. Very nice. So the majority of my kick sound is this kick in. So this is with no plugins, and this is with plugins. And then all of the other kick mics are supporting that one in their own way. My kick out sounds like this. Just feel like it's extending the low end a little bit, but not in a way that's gonna compete with my bass. Our sub kick, a little bit more low end extension to complement our kick in. Then moving on to our first sample of kick, which is, I believe, an Aaron Gillespie sample. All this is really doing is giving me bite, more cut. If I'm dimming down my speakers to see what's jumping out at me, this is what I'm gonna grab to make kick cut through the mix a little bit more. It's just something that's gonna go ka 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 ka. And that's pretty much the entire kick picture with just some other room stuff. We have somehow limited our typical 40 to 100 snare samples down to 13. I'd say that's pretty good. You can see that when I'm soloing all of the snares, when I'm starting to mix, making my way through all the drums, I'm making comments so that I don't have to solo things up. I can just kind of go, this one says snap. I'm just gonna bring that up and see if it helps. Wow, groundbreaking. Snare top 57, classic. Another snare top, a 451, along with it. Just getting so much body out of that one. Moving down to the snare bottom. Moving down the line, some of the Sam Pura samples. I think I was just using that to just get a little bit more thump out of it. You can see I wrote Zach button. I'm assuming that this is just click. Yeah. So if I can hear kick and snare pretty much at the same level, we're good, and I'll use this clicky sounding snare and the clicky sounding kick to make that happen. Our final three are just some snare room samples just to kind of create a little bit more of a stereo image for our snare. That's one. That one sounds so awesome. So all the snares together, including the room samples at the end, sound like this. Great. My relationship between kick, snare, and overheads, that's gonna determine so much of where the song ends up. So this is how overheads sounded before. You can see me like identifying this zone as the ouchie zone, and then, you know, bringing up some air, smashing it beyond belief. This is me trying to remove some of the snare from the overhead so that our focus is on our direct samples. Tape machine to smooth it out a little bit. I just like how this plugin blurs transients a little bit more. Another soothe, okay, more smash. Faster attack to further get some of those initial transients out of the overheads. That big cracky snare that we just built up, that's gonna be the main driver of us hearing snare, especially with the transient. From there, I'm trying to kill some more of the ouchie at the expense of some of the articulation, but it ended up working out. Saturn because it sounds awesome, Black Box because it sounds awesome. And then I'm also ducking the overheads around the snare. Again, to really try to take out that initial transient. But I still want to make it sound natural. I think we got there. All of my drums are going into a drum dry channel and then a parallel compression. The parallel compression looks like this for all interested parties. Going into the glue to absolutely smash it, like 12 dB of compression, then into the VBC rack, which I don't know that anybody uses as plugin, but I do because it sounds bright and wide and a little crunchy, and then into Saturn. Because why? Sounds good. And I'll quickly just run you through what we have for room stuff. What did Brendan give me? Mono kit, sounds awesome. I used a bunch of that. Oh yeah, and then his ceiling mics. He's got a small room, but it's got really high ceilings on the opposite side of his kit. So he puts these mics all the way up at the top of the ceiling and they sound fucking awesome and totally made these drum sounds. Kick, snare, and rooms sound like this. And then without rooms, it sounds like this. Toms, we've got a rack, we've got a floor. Okay, this isn't Dave Matthews Band. He did the same thing that we did for kick and snare. He just laid his exact rack, a sample on top of his performance. That sounds like this for the rack. Along with an Aaron Gillespie sample that sounds like this. And then the last two are rooms. Floor sounds like this. That's his recorded floor as a sample. And then another Aaron Gillespie sample. And then some rooms alongside it. Rack and floor sound like this. And I'll just quickly show you the reverbs I'm using. Our first one is just an overall drum reverb. It's a Pro R Studio A. It sounds like this. I'm using it on snare, I'm using it on toms. Next up is our tom room, which is just a little bit more pleasant to low frequencies. So I'll throw toms and I'll throw kick in as well. This is without it. This is with it. Can you spot the difference? And then I have two different snare reverbs. I have one that's more of a room, sounds like this. That one to me makes just a fucking giant difference. And then so will this next one. I have another snare reverb. It's a plate. And those are drums. The drums always take the longest and are the most fun. When drums sound right, everything else sounds right, in my opinion. Let's see what I did on bass. I have two sources here. I have a DI and I have a Kemper. Most of the time I'm losing articulation with something like a Kemper, so I'll add in my DI, get a little bit more fingers, and then I'll make it incredibly loud because I'm the bass player in this band and I'm also the mixer. So guess what I get to do? Make the bass super fucking loud. All right, so before plugins, I was feeling like the low end of it was a little bit murky and I know that I could get the low end articulation out of the DI. So this EQ right here is helping me achieve that. Into a absolutely smashed 2A, and then into a 3A because I wanted to be a little bit more aggressive. Into Soothe, back into Saturn because sounds good. And then into an L2 because I think the L2 sounds awesome and just kind of brings everything up into your face, doesn't it? Another Soothe, and then into another EQ. As you can tell, I'm not afraid of plugins. Do you think I give a shit that I have just on bass 5 instances of Soothe? Do you think that keeps me up at night? I don't give a fuck. Does it keep you up at night when you listen to the song? No. DI sounds like this. A little clunky, but still pretty articulate. I have an SPL transient designer on the bass DI. I guess I was feeling that even with me adding the DI to the Kemper, it felt a little blurry still. So this is my attempt to bring out some more fingers on it and really feel like I'm digging in. And then they're all going into subgroup, which has got some compression, which has got Saturn because it sounds good, another L2 because it also sounds fucking good. Multiband to control a little bit of the low end again. And then I am ducking my bass to the kick so that they can both live in harmony and also support each other and not compete. So drums and bass sound like this. For the most part, I'm using the same plugins on guitars. Because we have so many guitars, it's nice for me to feel like I have a little bit of consistency sonically with them. So let's jump into Zach's rhythm here. Very nice. First plugin on all these guitars, 3A. Then into an EQ, depending on what the guitar is telling me. Then into an L2, then into Saturn because, very good. Then into Black Box. I think Black Box just has such a nice stereo width module, but it also has such a great air band, so definitely using those. My guitars, keys, synths, whatever, instead of ducking those to just the snare, I'm still ducking them around the snare, but only in specific frequencies. And because I love how much body the snare has in this song, I'm just ducking that frequency around the snare on guitar. So my sidechain is set to bus 17, and the snare is coming down bus 17. I'm ducking around 217, which is gonna be that like kind of like ringy body bit of the snare, so that when the snare happens, that frequency in the guitar just gets shrunk a little bit. The guitars can kind of explode around the snare, and they're not competing for that frequency. That's the frequency that we're ducking around. I think I'm also doing that in crack zone too. And then from there, I'm just furthering the duck a little bit around the kick. Because this song is so bouncy and poppy, I want everything to breathe around that rhythm. Ducking guitars and bass to kick and snare helps, I think. This is Kid's part. Ivan's part in the chorus. Jangle Jangle. Another Zach part in the chorus. It's like a harmony to Ivan's part, so those two together that I've panned left and right. Let's get into vocals, I guess. Kid's vocal in solo with no plugins. Sounds like this.
The way I used to be, the way I used to see myself versus everyone else, is still more.
Subtractive EQ, a 2A that is absolutely smashing him to pieces. Also, I did some plugin automation to bring the peak reduction up. Instead of volume automating him, I just pushed him further into the compressor. I think Kid sounds great if he's smashed into a 2A. Sue me. 2A into Soothe, then into a more transparent sounding compressor, which is the glue for me, into CLA vocals, Don't Tell Anybody, into another Soothe, and then into Saturn because, yeah, see, now you're getting it. Into a multiband, into another instance of Soothe. I think Soothe's DS preset is excellent, so, and then another multiband.
The way I used to be, the way I used to see myself.
Yeah, you can see that I'm not doing a whole lot of additive EQ. With Kid's voice and with the microphone we use, which is a Sterling Audio ST69, I just find that it doesn't really take additive EQ super well, so I try to avoid that at all costs. And then in terms of reverbs and stuff like that, so I went with a slap.
The way I used to see myself.
So that's a slap. I put him into a little room as well.
Just still more of who I was before.
Super, super subtle 8th note delay.
The way I used to see myself.
A plate, and then I think another plate. Oh, the humanity. He's using so many different reverbs. Oh no. Those plates and those delays, for me, are something that's like pretty imperceptible in the mix, but helps him kind of sit back a little bit. We have a couple harmony parts. I wanted them to feel like two different people that were kind of like screaming in the background. I just wanted to feel like my friends are helping me out. If I were mixing this now, I would say, chorus is sounding awesome. So let's just quickly go through the song, and if there's anything that comes up of note, we can talk about it. Kid's guitar part in this song is just an AC/DC song. Tell me I'm wrong. And right before our chorus here, I completely kill all of the vocal ambience, so it's like a big, dry moment for Kid. It's our first chorus. I want to make it count. This is the money maker, baby. Every band member in good terms throughout the song gets like one moment to kind of jump out a little bit and make a case for themselves that they are moving forward, that they are progressing in something. Like there's a little bit of like a try hard energy to this song. There's a little bit of look at me, I'm doing good, right? As a mixer, finding all those things and throwing them at the listener is ultimately my job. To listen to what the song is trying to tell me and then trying to further communicate that, right? The first time we really hear that voice coming up is with Zach's part here. I think it's awesome. Okay, moving on to verse 2, automating our hi-hat up whenever he's playing the hi-hat. No fucking shit. Nice. We're kind of crossfading into this like weird country section. I wanted this section to feel like a little bit like murky, a little bit swimmy. Was that like a country blues lick? Like I just wanted to feel a little bit disjointed. And again, we're coming up on another moment, which is like, I can play country too. Like if the song started here, your mom would probably be like, now what is this? This is nice. And then fuck you, mom. You don't understand me. The star of the section to me is Ivan's harmonic thing. This is his little moment. It's also an added bar for all you fucking nerds out there, which again is another layer of like, look at me, I'm like good at music. I, as a mixer, also get this moment because I just add a ridiculous sounding snare drum, which is this one. Do I even know how to play that? Is that what it is? Anyway. Okay, so once the try-hard breakdown is over, we have Brendan's look at me moment. The barrel compression bumped there a little bit so that we get every single time his stick hits a head. Stomp clap chorus. When I was mixing it, I set up a mic and recorded the mic playing the mix through the speakers and me kind of like humming along to it just to kind of create a different space and add a little bit of character. Like you can hear me like whistling and kind of being like blah, 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 to like create this vibe of like put out by hearing this part that I feel like I've heard a bunch of times in music. When everyone comes back in, it's kind of like rejecting the feeling of being like, oh, I've like done this before. I'm so put off by like this whole music thing. That feeling of being like jaded by doing music for as long as we have. This was the sonic equivalent of filming a skate video when you're 13 with your friends. I'm here to make sure that the edit that I put together to put on YouTube includes my friend landing the one kickflip after trying 300 times. Does that answer your technical question about mixing? I'm sure it did. If you haven't listened to this song, you have now in very small doses. If you'd like to listen to the whole thing, do it. That is all I got for you. So, goodbye.